Everybody, welcome back to Miles and Mentors. Today's guest is Webster Jorgensen, a marketing veteran with over 15 years of experience diving into lead generation across industries, including high impact run in the logistics space. A former director of digital marketing for Shamrock Trading, Webster led SEO, paid media strategy, and scaling budgets throughout the industry. Stick with us. This is going to be a great one, and we're excited to tap into that lived and learned knowledge and pass it on to you. So stick with us right after this on Miles and Mentors.
Welcome to Miles and Mentors, the podcast that humanizes trucking, getting real-life advice and insights from logistics professionals from all over the industry. We sit down with those seasoned mentors who have put in the miles with a mission to pass on the knowledge gained from years in the industry to you. Now buckle up and enjoy the show.
Hey, Webster, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, I appreciate you coming on, and I'm excited for this one as a fellow marketing nerd. I think we're going to have plenty to nerd out on with this discussion, but all relating into the logistics space, the trucking industry, and I think there's going to be a lot to learn from there. So let's get started here. For those that may not know who you are, just give us a rundown. Who are you? And what's your role what's the role you played in the industry, and where are you at today?
So how I kind of got into the trucking industry was in 2009, I got hired on at Shamrock Trading Corporation. And, they have a freight brokerage there, Ryan Transportation. I was kind of the head of all their marketing efforts. They also have a finance division, which targets trucking companies. So while I didn't work directly for a trucking company, freight brokers, they market similarly. They're trying to find shippers, and there's some definite challenges with marketing to shippers that are kind of unique to the trucking industry. So I was at Shamrock for about 12 years. That company grew from about it's 150 people to over 1,000 by the time I left. So I was kind of there during that whole period. So while I was there, lots of marketing and ads and web development and interacting with trucking companies and shippers and so lots of experience with that industry there. So I have my own agency now. So Demand Stack is we're a web design and marketing agency, and I still have some freight brokerage clients. So I still have some involvement in the industry. So
Fantastic. Well, this is an exciting one because a huge part of the show we like to do is not just focus on the truckers themselves, but as they're, making that leap into owner operator, fleet, etc., it's really important to understand the business side of things, right? And there's so many different moving parts in this industry, so many different positions to really understand what those all are, what it looks like, how it relates back. I think there's huge value in. So I'm excited to dive in on that, man. And as you talked about going to Shamrock there, getting into the logistics industry from that perspective, how did you end up there? Like what really put that industry on your radar, or how'd that come about?
So they kind of approached me. So I started my marketing career in 2006. I was at an ad agency here in Kansas City, Platform Advertising. They've been bought and their names have changed and traded hands a bunch of times. But so I was working there, and I was young and poor and being underpaid, and was trying to kind of find a way to get myself on the radar and make a name for myself in the field. So I started the Kansas City SEO club, and started holding some meetings and built a sort of membership site, and the site started ranking for Kansas City SEO, which was kind of my goal. And so with that, a lot of people started kind of finding me, and they were one of the ones that kind of Googled Kansas City SEO and found me, and then recruited me. and offered me way more money than I was getting paid at an ad agency. And yeah, so it wasn't anything specific about the industry. It just kind of happened that way. So
That's cool the way it happens though, man. That's
yeah,
awesome you got
yeah.
pulled in. And I'm curious, with that expertise, with that experience you've had, especially dealing with different industry types, what would you say were some of the unique challenges you faced for marketing to that logistics industry space versus other spaces like SaaS and education?
Yeah, so one tricky part in the trucking industry is, you do have brokers and shippers.
Mm,
So it's a little more dynamic. And if you are running any ads, especially search ads, you really got to pay attention to like who am I actually targeting here? Because showing up for, if I'm a trucking company, showing up for trucking companies in Dallas in the first spot, that sounds amazing. But a lot of the people you're going to be getting in front of are going to be freight brokers who need a carrier. They've got a load they can't move from Dallas to wherever. They need a carrier, so they're googling trucking companies in Dallas. Or you've got employment candidates who, somebody looking to get hired on somewhere new. So they're good, so there's a lot of different types of people that are searching for that word. So if you're doing any kind of paid advertising, you really have to think about who am I getting in front of here? Am I getting in front of shippers or freight brokers or other truck? So that's one challenge. Another thing with the trucking industry is it tends to be kind of cyclical. As the market loosens, uh,
mhm.
as demand kind of loosens up, and shippers can find carriers easily to move loads. Rates are dropping. Um, Marketing tends to not work as well. So like at Shamrock, so we'd be running tons and tons of paid media for Ryan Transportation, and then all of a sudden salespeople are complaining about leads and they're not getting as many conversions. And then you go, I would always look at like the DAT trend lines. um, and they've got their demand and capacity graphs, and sure enough you go and flatbed is nosedive. That's like, okay, well that's what's going on, is the market's loosened up. There's not as many shippers looking for carriers on Google. And there's a lot of other traffic brokers, so, but then when the market tightens and rates are going up, and it's harder to find a carrier to move load, marketing works better. So you take the same campaign you're running when the market's down, and then the market tightens back up, and now it's going gangbusters, and you got leads coming in and conversions, and everything looks great, and the salespeople are happy. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Is keeping an eye on, I mean, a lot of truckers, I think, just have a natural feel for whether the market's tight or loose.
Yeah.
But the some of those reporting services like the AT trend lines, you can kind of confirm that, and see the actual data. And that's good to keep in mind, to know that and what I doing, is it not working, or is it just a period in the market cycle, where things are up or down, or so yeah, those were two kind of unique things to the trucking market that I don't
Right.
in other industries. So yeah.
So from that aspect, marketing to trucking companies, especially, at that point, we're talking about owner operators, maybe small fleets, et cetera. Do you feel like companies in that range understand the critical importance of, accessible cash flow, especially from how you guys were marketing?
Um, yeah, it's tough. So on the marketing side, we're not calling those leads. You know, uh, and the financing we were offering was factoring.
Mhm.
So it's that's got its own kind of unique elements to it. I wouldn't say I have a good feel for the general trucking population's understanding of finance, of access to capital. Um, there are definitely a lot of carriers out there looking for factoring. So that's like from my perspective, it's truckers are looking for these keywords. They're on these sites. They're here and here and here. We're showing factoring ads if they're interested. Um, they fill out a form and end up in the sales funnel. And yeah, um, I mean, I know from just I guess looking around on the internet, there's definitely a big divide among carriers in terms
Yeah.
of the thoughts about factoring. The interest rates are incredibly high. You're anywhere from 30 to 40% annual percentage rates. I mean, that's really high. And so, yeah, you've got a lot of carriers who say don't do it. Which if you can avoid it, uh, definitely better to find other sources of financing than paying 30 to 40% APR. But if you don't have any other options and it's that, or you can't pay the bills, can't pay drivers, can't pay for your fuel, and you got to do what you got to do.
Right.
It can save your trucking company if it's the last resort. So yeah.
So from that perspective, talking about SEO and a lot of guys, starting out their trucking company. I mean, we're looking from the point of going from a company driver, not having to worry about the business aspect, to then taking on that business aspect. A lot of these guys really aren't tuned into the marketing side, or especially something as niche as SEO, like you and me get a nerd out on. Can we give them kind of a base understanding? What is SEO and what does that mean to a small business trying to get their name out there?
Yeah, so SEO is if you go to Google and search for something, you'll see some ads, and the ads are a little bit different. That's Google's ad program. But then kind of below that, the things that aren't ads, Google ranks that stuff kind of based on an algorithm. So if you search for trucking companies in Dallas, Google's got a very complex way of determining which websites are going to show up above which other websites. They also have some local results. I'm sure everybody's seen, you've got the box, it's got a little map in it, and then it's got some smaller listings with reviews. So that's their kind of their local results. So SEO is either building your website or your Google business profile in a way that kind of maximizes your chance of showing up higher. So that's kind of what it is from a high level. And for new trucking companies, if you've got a Google business profile and you've filled it out completely, add a description, pictures, really spend time to make sure you get it completely filled out. You do your Google business profile and build a super basic website. You're ahead of over half of the new trucking companies out there. Most of them have no Google business profile. If they do, it's something that Google's probably auto-generated, and
Mm.
it's no pictures. There's not, there's it's a very thin profile, and rarely is a new trucking company going to have a website out there. So you do those two things, and you're kind of ahead of the game. The other thing I'd say too is when you name your trucking company, Google that name before you pick it. Just go to Google, because there's a lot of very generic, if you decide on something like, Lightning Trucking or something, if there's two other Lightning Truckings in town, and they've been operating for 20 years, and they've got 100 trucks, you get, that's a problem. I mean, that could really be bad, because even if you get referrals, somebody says, "Hey, Lightning Trucking's great." Somebody goes to Google, looks for, they're going to find these other companies. So when you pick a name, always Google it first. I mean, I think a lot of times, I think you can just take your last name and trucking, and you'll be pretty. Last names are good brands. Um, you can go into a lot of the how and why, but yeah, last names are good brands. So it's always if you can't think of a name and you have a last name that isn't too crazy, that can always be a pretty good option, that rather than trying to think of some,
Right.
you know.
Well, you bring up two really great points there. One I want to touch on before we branch off too far is that Google Business Profile, because you brought up an amazing point there that especially for this space, you go search it up and you say, oh yeah, we've got one, great. But for those ones that are auto-generated, I think the two major points to understand there is, one, if you haven't claimed it, you don't have ownership to make edits, right? So if that information's not
Yeah.
correct, you have no say without claiming that ownership. But two, you're not able to really harness the conversion aspect there, right? So if someone's going there to look for you and you don't have it set up correctly, maybe those calls aren't coming to you if that number is not correct, or going to the right place depending on your business setup. But it's really important, I guess, to one, claim it, make sure it's correct, and make sure that those conversion aspects of where you want those people to go ultimately past that are really tied into how you're going to be able to take business away from that. What's your thoughts on that? Am I missing anything there?
Yeah, no, that's yeah, a lot of times you'll see profiles that there isn't a phone number, because if Google auto generates, they do the best they can, but if they don't know your phone number, they can't add it. So or maybe it's missing the website. So yeah, definitely claiming it. And then if somebody does leave a review, maybe it's nice to say, hey, I appreciate the review, kind of respond back to some of those people leaving positive reviews on your site, or maybe it's a negative review, and you want to be able to say a little something, as a response to that, just to show people that you're, active and engaged, and concerned about the well-being of your customers. Yeah, so yeah, you definitely want to claim the profile, or create it if Google hasn't generated one yet, and fill it out as completely as you can. Because even a lot of businesses, you'll talk to them and say, well, all our business is referrals.
Yeah.
We don't really do any marketing. All our business is referrals. But if it is a referral and somebody says, hey, you really got to use Jackson Trucking, they're great. They're going to go Google you.
Right. Yeah.
So I know anytime I get a referral and somebody says, hey, ABC Plumbing is that's who I use, and they've done a great job, the first thing I'm going to do is go to Google and look for ABC Plumbing. And if I can't tell, if I go there and it's like, I can't quite tell what's what here, but if there's a Google Business Profile, there's some positive reviews and pictures, it's it builds confidence for that prospective customer. Even though they did get referred, now they're even more potentially confident. They see, oh, there's a little website here, I know I'm at the right place. These guys look legit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think
And
there's a lot to be said there, because that trucking community, obviously we deal with a lot of that old school nature where it's that word to mouth type referral. But where we see that blend into the modern day is, yeah, that word to mouth referral is fantastic, but like you mentioned there, most people are typically going to kind of look into you before they make that final phone call. Like, well, okay, but who is this guy I'm about to call? And depending how you look, or if you show up at all, I mean, depending on what they're looking for, that can have kind of a bad image on who you are. Let's say you've got a company you've been running for a while, but you've never done anything online, but you do have people going and, leaving potentially negative reviews on that Google Business Profile you never claimed. You potentially have a bad look out there for your company, or not at all. or maybe just a really unprofessional one. Do you see
Yeah.
importance in that for someone that's potentially looking at you online to connect those dots in a positive manner?
Yeah, and I mean, and they may not even be able to get a hold of you. A lot of times a referral is just a name.
Sure.
I use ABC, whatever. They did a great job, but they're not gonna hand you. Maybe they might not have the phone number handy, where they're just giving you a name. So all they have is this name to go to, and they're gonna go to Google. If they can't find how to get a hold of you, then well, I mean, maybe they go back to the person, say, "Do you have their number? Do you know their domain, their website?"
Right.
you know,
Well, that's a
uh,
great point. I mean, in those conversations, maybe you write it down, maybe you try to remember it, and then later on you can't. There's a solid potential that somebody's going to end up Googling you for one reason or another, before
yeah,
they directly make that contact. Yeah, to me, I've always seen that the value there of, having that digital footprint behind you as well. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so it doesn't take, the Google business profile. You're talking, 2 hours, 3 hours of work, maybe
yeah,
just an hour. I mean, half hour even. I don't. It's hard, but it doesn't take very long. Even the website part. There's like Wix. I think their website builder is has come a long way over the years. Wix seems pretty good. I see, a lot of people using GoDaddy. Is it pronounced Airo? AIRO?
I've
That's
seen it.
their.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
I've seen a lot of people using that, but yeah, even one of those just real basic website builders. Pick a template, throw some images on there. Use Chat GPT. Um, I think you could have a trucking website up, knowing nothing about websites in a few
Yeah.
hours. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm a little particular about Wix in my personal stance. I think they're a great company. They offer a lot to that small business aspect. I think one thing would be to consider if you are going to grow and expand in the foreseeable future, because platforms like Wix, for one, and this is going to get more technical than most of our audience really probably cares about for one, right? But with a platform, and I wanted your input on this as well. With a platform like
yeah,
a WordPress, right? It's a giant CMS, but it's open source and free. So you build a website on that, and say 6 months from now you don't like the cost of your hosting or the speed of your hosting, et cetera. You can take that WordPress site and go take it to any host. With a system like Wix, for one, it's proprietary, so you're locked in. If 6 months from now they double their price or you don't like the speed, you got to rebuild from scratch. The other thing I've seen is a lot of companies, when they try to move away from Wix, they have so many aspects of it locked in. For one, your site, but for two, your domain name typically gets locked in where it's hard to transfer out. So it can be really beneficial for a small company that needs an all-in-one platform. But if you see that growth, there definitely can be some snags. What's
yeah.
your thoughts there?
Um, so yes, if you grow, and you can certainly outgrow Wix for sure. Um, but for the new owner operator, the small, the very very small, I just tend to think whatever will get them to put something out.
That's a fair point.
Now
Yeah.
I haven't. I mean, is there like a dead simple WordPress visual? You know, pick a theme, I haven't used one of those with WordPress. Like if I build a WordPress site, I'm um, custom theme. I do it the hard way.
Yeah, there's so obviously the way we're talking here is taking the open source version of WordPress and building it out. There's different aspects of that. The owner, well, quote unquote owner, main guy that was behind it. You've got WordPress.org, which
Yeah, that's
you
kind of
take
their
open source,
builder, right? Yeah,
right? But then you can do WordPress.com, which was from the same originator, and
Yeah.
that's supposed to be more along kind of the Wix avenue, where it's more of a simple, you've got built-in themes, you can pay for hosting through them, or you can do the free version. I haven't personally used the .com. Everything I've done's been, build out like you're talking, but that may be an avenue. But
Yeah.
I would almost assume at that level, Wix may have more opportunity and built-in features than WordPress.com. And I could be entirely wrong there.
Yeah, and I just see a lot of I see a lot of people using it. I see a lot of people using Wix, and for that use case, tiny
Yeah.
company, hair salon, nail salon, they tend to. So I feel like people are finding something there that they like in the
Yeah.
sort of do-it-yourself. Take the afternoon to try to get something up there. Um,
I
yeah,
think it's a good approach, a good, kind of thought process there is don't overthink it. Find a way to get online, right? It's better than nothing to have that connection. Because when you do get to the point that, like, let's say, okay, we grew, we need something more, at that point you can kind of leave that to an agency like yourself, right? Like, hey, we might have these snags, but we need to take this new route. You know better than us, right?
yeah. If you've grown to the point where you're like, okay, Wix can't, or GoDaddy, Arrow can't deliver what we need anymore. Yeah, whoever you've got involved with that should have enough expertise to um, move your content, move your domain. Um, they're probably not going to want to move whatever design the business owner came up with in their first, month of operation, unless
Yeah.
but yeah, I think, once you outgrow that, I think you'll have, hopefully have the resources to, make that transition with some expertise, and whether it be in-house or agency. Yeah.
100%. So we've talked there some about, establishing the basics, the connection points, the business profile, a website. From that point, though, obviously you can create a website if no one knows it's there and you don't have, SEO and stuff, which at that point they're probably not delving into much.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody may never find it. So then that comes in with some marketing aspects for somebody, starting out their trucking company and trying to get known. How important do you see marketing efforts on that level? And what would you say those marketing efforts look like in reality?
So for an owner operator, I would say the biggest thing is get people to leave you reviews on your Google Business profile.
Yeah.
I would say that priority number one, if you did nothing else for your marketing, just if you have a good relationship, if you feel like this customer, they like me, they like the service I provided, just ask them for a review and get a review. I don't know that I'd worry too much about like backlinks. Um, I just don't, so just for, people watching, if another website links to your website, that can help your SEO. I don't see that being something your average owner operator is going to go out and, build some backlinks. That seems odd for
Right.
um, but beyond the reviews, you do want to have some text content on your website. So you want to have enough text there so that Google's going to kind of know what your website's about. Be a little descriptive. So the other thing I would say, just like a very kind of general tactic that can lead to better SEO performance, I would say, is just to like build organizational relationships, because that's not just an SEO thing. That could just help you in general. So I would, chambers of commerce, industry organizations, nonprofits that you have a particular interest in, just within your city, within your region, get involved with other organizations, and without going on a big long thing about how that I mean, it can just help you just by these people know who you are. They're plugged into the business community. Maybe they provide referrals. Maybe, completely ignoring sort of the digital SEO side of it. There's benefits there
Right.
to those, you know.
So kind of like networking in another word, right?
Yeah, networking, but yeah, getting, so I'd say there's a little bit of, parts of that don't overlap. There's certainly definitely some
Okay.
overlap with um, organizational relationships and networking. I mean, some networking is just some people, but there are some SEO benefits that accrue through building relationships with organizations in the community.
Right.
So yeah, but definitely networking too. Obviously, networking is a big deal, and these organizations can certainly help with that. So
Yeah, I mean, any way you can get your name out there and a positive impact, right? If you
yeah,
can be on those registries or have your name involved with those, local aspects, local movements, and then those other companies that hopefully you want to work with are doing the same or seeing that, that goes a long ways beyond potentially just never being seen, not putting your name out there.
yeah,
It's hard to grow and establish a business if no one knows who you are, right?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that would be my other, with like an owner operator, I try to keep the tips very simple and very general because,
Yeah.
it's not, even getting an owner operator to build a website or a Google business profile is, a little bit of an ask. Uh, you know,
Well,
um,
so I know you said you still have some like brokerage clients, et cetera. With that in mind, and with your previous experience marketing and logistics, with other clients and other work you're doing in marketing today, how would you say the logistics industry, like what experience, exposure is that giving you that has still impacting you as a business today?
um, so, um, well, sorry, what was the last part of that question again?
Yeah, 100%. Just, basically from your time in the industry, and as we mentioned, you're still working with some brokerage clients today, but from your experience and insights through marketing for logistics, how is that kind of you know, what are you still using or taking away from that that's impacting your business today? Like what experiences there are you still kind of going off of?
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't, it doesn't seem like there's, at least with the clients I've worked with, that there have been any like massive changes. Um, so I haven't done much like paid search stuff with the current clients. A lot of the stuff has been like kind of sales ops. Um, you know, getting salespeople to using the CRM, customer relationship management system, getting it set up right. Um, like you kind of mentioned before, the trucking industry does have tend to have this kind of older school mentality. So you bring something like a CRM in, and it's not always well received, especially when you start, um, dictating kind of specific processes. Now you have to do it like this, and then you click this thing, and then you have to fill this field in because that could be tough to get implemented. So yeah, so my stuff right now has been a lot of like sales operations, usage of CRM, Zoom Info. I don't know if familiar with Zoom. Zoom Info is a great
Yeah.
resource. I don't know for the people out there. If you get Zoom Info, you can basically get the contact information for just about anybody, email address, phone number. So if you want to, call the, you know, uh, VP of operations at big manufacturing, Acme Manufacturing. You can go to Zoom info and there it is. Yeah, so some Zoom info stuff, integrating that with CRM. So that's been kind of my experience lately, is that kind of stuff. Email marketing. So once you do get some contacts in there, some kind of automated email campaigns to kind of generate some additional business. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm noticing in your background, I have to mention that I see some DJ stuff. What's going on there?
Yeah, I'm a cutting machine. So yeah,
Heck
so
yeah.
I still do that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's digital now. There's not even needles anymore.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. There's a new thing called phase. So there's a little block, this little like electronic block that kind of sits in the middle of the record, and then there's like a receiver, and it kind of tells it like where the record is,
Oh,
and
wow.
so you can still like move the record, and it'll sound like it's going back and forth, but there's no needle anymore, which is great because needles are they're kind of annoying to deal with. They kind of jump off the track, they wear out and break, they're expensive. So
Sure.
yeah, it's yeah, but
Technology is getting everything.
yeah, and digital's a lot better because I've been DJing since like 2002. There was a break there in between, but if there's a song you like and you have to buy it on vinyl, especially today, you might spend $30-$40 on an album, on a vinyl album,
Yeah.
when you're really only interested in one song that cost $1.29.
Right.
Yeah, hard to stick with vinyl when I mean, there's definitely some albums that it's nice to have the whole album. There's some classic albums, but if it's just some rando song,
Most definitely.
you really don't want to spend $40 on that.
Well, we've talked about a lot today. We've learned a ton from you in the marketing space here for logistics. With everything we've talked about, do you feel like anything we've missed important to throw in here as we wrap up?
No, I think we covered it all. And then if people get curious about SEO or building websites beyond that, there's the internet has tons of resources to dive deeper. So, but yeah, watch the business cycle, DAT trend lines, make your Google business profile, fill it out completely, build a basic website, use ChatGPT. Yeah, I think owner operators do that. They're ahead of most of the competition. So yeah.
Fantastic insight, Webster. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you giving us some time out of your busy schedule today to let us pick your brain on that lived and learned experience. You've been amazing. I want to thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, can't wait to see you again next time, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
100%. Well, everyone out there, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. And I'm doing you a disservice here. I forgot shameless plugs. Before we go, I want to give you an opportunity. How can people find out more about you, your website, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so my agency is Demand Stack. It's demandstack.io is the domain. We build websites, digital marketing, Google Ads, paid media, email, data engineering, all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
Fantastic. We'll make sure to get that link in the show notes below. Until next time, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay safe out there. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thanks so much.